Hello and welcome to what is now session 3 of 3 for Mutants in the Night. My players were generous enough to allow me a uh, sympathy leave last week. So we did skip a session, but we are coming back with our characters here. This is a game by DC. This is a Forged in the Dark hack that takes sort of the core concept of the Days of Future Past style mutant enclave things, has a little bit of a twist to it, and has an interesting setup in that our characters are mutants. The vast majority of the mutants are without powers. They just have mutations of some sort. There's a blood test to do it. They're not considered persons by the law, and they're put in these isolated enclaves, which means that they don't interact with sort of the outside world as much. There are some that go back and forth. There are some transit points, but generally we have an isolated community that is a little bit insular in that. Our last session was essentially taking down effectively a gang and battling some wasps and lighting a building on fire. But that was what that was. So we are going to take up tonight. I'm going to vary the structure a little bit, and we'll talk about that in a moment. I do want to say this is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts. If you're interested in online gaming and you're not already, playing the 100 Gauntlet Con games this weekend, check out things at gauntlet-rpg.com. And you'll find out about that. Our Patreon that supports the podcast, supports the online gaming, supports our monthly codex, zine, and so on. X card for safety. And just to remind everybody, and we do have lines and veils in there. We also have in the thing, the grand opening of the Poppy Dome. I just want to remind everybody about the project that Poppy had built. We're going to take up a few weeks down the road. I want to set up a few things. And one of the things that I want to try and do is loosen up the structure a little bit today, a little more free play in this, because Forged in the Dark and Blades in the Dark games necessarily build around a mission structure, which I think tightens some things into a very kind of directed play. We're going to try and see what we can do with loosening that up until we kind of hit a point at which, we think we need to go to the engagement role or whatnot. But it's been a few weeks, and more people have been going to this strange cathedral-like space that Poppy has built. And let me ask you this, Poppy, how much do people know that it's you that built it? How anonymous or not anonymous is it?
I think Poppy's usually around, but he's cloaked or hanging up on the ceiling. If you remember the picture of it, it has a lot of glass, so he's kind of lurking around a lot. And maybe the other members of the team here they will interact with, but otherwise probably just stays to the shadows.
And it is one of the things is you will note that there's still that kind of bias against the mutants that have sort of the full changes like you do, the ones with really severe visible mutations, and probably through the course of a day. During the day, you see lots of people come and go, but it's probably at night, in the evenings, that you see more of the people who have more dramatic changes to their body, to their form. But you can see that this is like the first really new thing that has been built. And it is maybe makes you a little bit nervous when a few weeks later, one of the sort of patrol APCs that have been coming into this city, into the neighborhood more recently lately, kind of pulls up, and like some of the patrol soldiers from the outside world, we'll call them the non-mutant world, kind of come out, and they don't look hostile, but they definitely kind of do a walk around this place, like this is unusual. What is this? And a couple of them are stopping and taking shots with their phones and stuff. And you'll see like an officer kind of calling in, maybe to see what is up with this. Would you do anything when you see that, Poppy?
I think I'll kind of slither down to them and I'll say, welcome, officers. All are welcome.
And when you drop down, you probably didn't realize exactly how tense they were, but uh, the guns are up, and the officer kind of has to gesture to his people to lower. Like they're clearly here for something, not you though. And he says, "What is this?"
It's a project to beautify the what's it called, the MSZ,
Yeah.
and you know, I I want to be humble, but I'm very proud of it. It's something I made. What do you think?
Do you have a permit for the building and installation?
No. What's that?
He says, "You understand that any new structures within the mutant secure zone have to be cleared. Anything that's a permanent standing thing has to go through processes."
Oh, all right. I'll do that. Who do I talk to?
And goes, "Well, you should talk to your local alderman, and they'll direct you."
Okay. Thanks.
"What is your name?"
Poppy.
"Can I see your identity card?"
I don't have one of those.
"What do you mean you don't have one of those? You should have an ident card."
Uh, uh, I don't. If I ever had it, I might have ate it. Things. When things are on me a while, they just kind of get absorbed after time.
"Do you have an advocate or a caretaker?"
My friend Malik, I'd say he takes care of me. He tells me what's right, and what's wrong, what to do.
"Why don't you call your friend Malik to come down here?"
Okay. Uh, can I use your phone? I don't have a phone.
Anyone else around here? He looks, kind of gestures back at the church. Are any of the others of your group around?
Is it daytime or night right now?
Probably evening at this point.
It's probably between services or events, probably at this point.
Okay. And there's definitely some people that have gathered around, like they're not cool with you necessarily being hassled. Um, let's say that Theo is almost always around if I haven't identified. So Theo, you're there. We'll bring the others in a second. But you see this going down. These people, these non-mutant, uh, you know, civic enforcer types, and again, been more of them in the last week and a half, and they seem to be hassling Poppy.
Yeah, Theo's totally just restraining himself from making their ears bleed with high pitched squeal. But holding back because he doesn't want to see things get ugly here. I'll walk up to Poppy. Poppy, everything okay here?
Yeah, they say I need to get a permit though. I have to go talk to Malik. Theo, do you got a phone? I got to call him.
I'm afraid I don't have a phone. Why are you needing a phone? Why are you needing to talk to Malik?
They say he'll help me figure out how to get a permit.
Okay.
The permit's now a secondary consideration because I asked you for your ident card and you don't have your legally required ident card.
Oh yeah, I got to get an ident card.
Turns to you, Theo. Can I see your ident card?
Why?
Because I asked you for your ident card. And
Can I see yours?
And everybody is like, you can see people get tense and the guards get tense here. And he goes, you are required by law to present your ident card when it is requested by an officer of the city. And I am a legally appointed officer, and I am asking to see your ident card, sir.
Sure. I'll pull it out, and then right as he's going to take it, I'm just going to drop it.
Okay.
Well, sorry, officer. I didn't mean to drop that there.
It gets a little cold, like it gets a little chilly here. And when it gets cold, one of the only answers to that is fire. So, Carrie, you've arrived at the Poppies project, and you've seen some people standing around. You've seen one of these military occupation APCs there. And you come up and you witness this scene, and you see Theo drop that card, and it gets kind of quiet there for a second. What do you do, Carrie?
I think, what is the lighting like in the Poppy Dome?
It's probably just mostly natural light, but there's probably some low lighting, maybe like recessed lights along the sides, kind of high up during nighttime.
When you say natural lighting, are you talking like candlelight or like?
Well, normally it just sunlight comes through. If you look at the picture, it's pretty much almost all glass. So, but probably right now, if there's any lighting in there, it would be just you probably want me to say candles. But if you look at the picture, there are some candles at the end at the altar there.
Yeah, there are probably a few in there.
Okay. I think the candle flames start to sort of dance around the this whole thing, sort of like bringing everybody's attention right there.
Okay. What do you want? What do you want to do with that?
Well, I think what Carrie wants to do is draw attention right there, like so that the civic authority types understand that they're drawing a lot of attention, and there's not that many of them, and there's a lot more of everybody else.
So you want to increase the tension on them?
Yep. I want them to think it might be a better idea to come back here during the day. So I'm leaning into the, like, this is a bad time for you to be pulling this kind of situation.
Sure. That seems like command, since command relates to intimidation.
Okay, and I have command of 1.
And everybody's flares will reset back to 0, since that always resets.
Oh, okay. Let me reset that part. right, and we go in here and roll my 1 die. That's a 3. So
That is a 3. So yes, that will light up, and you create that effect. But the tension that you get is less. We should come back, and more. We're going to raise our guns and start swinging them around like everybody better back the F up.
The moment they raise their guns, I'm going for a rupture on them, which is the replace the hearing of a small group with a sharp ringing. Affected targets experience a moment of vertigo, confusion, and intense pain. And
so let me ask you this. If I understand you correctly, you are about to use your restricted superpowers on a group of guards.
Yep.
Okay. All right. That is cool. So let's have you, let's see, that is rupture, blah, blah, blah. Focus is the thing for using power, unless you have an argument for using another stat to resolve that. And that's more, it's going to happen, but this is about what the effectiveness of it is.
Right. I mean, I don't see anything that looks more appropriate, really.
Okay. Then let's have you roll focus.
All right. So I've got 1 die on focus.
Mm-hmm. You could push yourself.
Pushing myself will add stress.
Well, you'll take 2 stress and you'll get an additional die.
Let's do that.
Okay. Right now, by the way, you're also going to get to mark experience, because I'd say that this is a desperate action.
Okay. All right. So NXP, which I'll add to the chart in just a bit.
Sure.
2 stress and 2 die.
2 dice.
All right. Roll well. E. It didn't go so well.
Oh boy.
The highest one's a 3.
So I'm going to tell you the 2 consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to come to our good friend Harper, who is arriving on the scene at this point, and then we'll check in back with Poppy. So here are the 2 consequences. One is, it is obvious that you are doing this, and that you are the person using these powers.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is they open fire on the crowd.
I can handle the first one. The second one's
now,
awful.
And now you can resist one. You can resist both. We found that out last time, or you can have others help you to resist a consequence as well. So what would you like to do?
I'm mostly concerned about resisting the second consequence. I don't want them opening fire.
Okay.
Is it possible to have one of us resist one thing and someone else resist another?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So how about if I like stretch out and like block their bullets from affecting the crowd to resist that part? And Chris, you can do the other one if you want.
Okay.
So yeah, let's have, I think this, let's have Chris, let's have you roll resolve, which would be 1 die.
All right. Get him out of there. Oh my goodness. Another 3.
So you're going to take 3 stress to resist them realizing it's you. And then Poppy, you want to essentially stop the bullets from hitting.
Right.
People
just
there?
sort of like Mr. Fantastic, stretch all out, and just sort of my super tough rubbery skin will catch the bullets.
Sure. I think that that is going to cost you a couple flare for Juggernaut to.
Okay.
Does that seem like fair to be with the fiction on that? Okay.
Yeah.
And so let's have you roll prowess.
That would be 3 for me, right?
4. You get finesse, prowl, skirmish, and wreck, right?
Yeah. It's not your highest. It's how many total of them you have.
Yep.
I see. All right, here we go. Can't go wrong with 4 dice, right? Okay, I got wrong person's dice here. That'll work. 3.
Oh my god.
So you
All
take
right.
3 stress.
All right.
You do, however, as they fire off this small arms round, is that some of them go back. They've got that vertigo, and then the others, short bursts, and you kind of stretch out to get that. So Harper, you've just stepped. Okay, this has been going on. You've just kind of stepped into the crowd, and you know what Theo can do. So you realize what Theo has just done. They haven't realized the source, but Poppy has just kind of done some pretty severe stuff here in front of this unit. What do you want to do, Harper?
Can I see their leader? Like, can I?
Yeah,
pick
their
them out?
officer is right there. He is like dropping to one knee, holding his ears right now. What do you want to do?
I think I'm going to use Shifting Mask, which I can project a modified version of myself into the mind of someone I'm engaging with. And I think what the officer is going to see as I kind of march out of the crowd is that, like, I don't look like my usual self, which is the pale, vampiric, twitchy self. Instead, I look like I'm wearing a nice, like, sort of pantsuit. I look well dressed. I look like a politician's child, basically.
Okay.
Because I think we established that Harper's background is that they were the kid of a very prominent Detroit politician. And I think I just kind of like march up to the officer.
Yeah. So this I think is desperate.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good news. You get to mark XP. I think given that gunfire's already broken out, we're at small effect on this to start.
Okay.
So let's have you roll sway. I don't know if you have anything.
Shifting Mask gives me a +1d while rolling
Okay,
against my
so
target.
that'll give you 3 dice.
Cool. You don't have to have a bargain for me, do you? I can't take stress.
Let me think what the bargain would be.
If not, 3 dice is good, but
I think that
four would be great.
the bargain is certainly that even if you talk them down, they're going to want to take Poppy.
I am not taking that.
Okay.
I'm so not taking that. All right. Let's roll. That's a 6.
That is a 6. So this guy is, he sees you and he's like, stop shooting, stop shooting, stop shooting, stop shooting. And they stop their gunfire, and this guy looks. Who are you precisely?
I think, well, it's not so much me, but my surname. I think you'll recognize who exactly I'm related to. And I take out my ID, and I think hopefully he'll recognize exactly, like, at least who my parents are.
He looks. If other people are kind of getting up, he takes his little thing and he does this scan to pull up your ident info. Didn't realize Mr. Wells had any non-human children.
Well, whatever Mr. Wells might think or want, I'm still his child. And anything that would happen to anyone related to Mr. Wells or anything they're related to certainly will come down on you, wouldn't it?
He says, if these people will produce their IDs in a timely fashion, and we can finish what we came here for.
I'm sure these people appreciate it when you and your fine fellow officers barge in, raring for a fight. But I think a little bit of patience on. I'm trying to think. Well, would they say on one side would do well for all of us, officer.
And you can tell he's backing down. Like he's back down from taking Poppy and this other guy in and shooting some fools. But he clearly need something. He needs to get. He's like, that's his sort of line in the sand right now, with the low effect that you got.
I think I'll notice that and I'll look around and I'll say like, well, if you
do that,
must...
and we will have no problem, Mr. Wells.
I think they kind of like smirk at that. And Harper has they them pronouns that this guy doesn't know. I think like, well, if you really must need someone, they hold out their arms, their hands.
I have no intention of taking anybody in. I want to ascertain who is here. That's all I want at this point. And if he points to Theo and says that gentleman will hand me his ID, that'll be where we'll start, and we will get through this.
Gonna give him a little bit of a long look before I go down and pick it up and hand it to him. There you go.
Runs his ID through the scanner. See him note it. You see him punch in a few things on it. He'll hand that back and he'll say, Mr. Wells, again, deliberately misgendering you. Are you acquainted with this Poppy over here?
Yes, you can say that.
See him do that mental calculus. Worth it to push this. Poppy's unusual. Is it physical form? Is it reaching the level of superhero-dom, powerdom? He says, I will make a note of that. I will expect that you will assist Mr. Poppy in going to one of the gate offices to get a replacement ident card.
I'd be happy to help them do that.
Right. We'll need that to happen in the next 48 hours.
I think Harper kind of gives them a very strained smile. And would nod and like would basically wait until like I think they throw a look at Poppy.
Yeah. The officer does the gesture for his people to pull back. They do it in careful formation, a couple people in. He goes in, a couple more. And, there are two last ones. They keep their guns down. Their fingers are off the triggers, but hands beside the grip. And they move into this. And then the back door closes and the APC will rev and will take off. And there are also, after the gunfire, a much smaller number of people around than there were before.
I think I turned to Poppy and to everyone else, I just look like how I look. And I think I just asked like, are you okay?
I drop all the bullets out of my skin, off my body, and they were going to shoot everybody. They were going to shoot everybody that was out, just hanging out at the church. Yeah, I'm fine.
It's my fault. When they started getting crazed, I tried to mess with them, and it just went south. I screwed it up. Sorry you had to do that, Poppy.
No, it's no problem. It's not your fault. I mean, this guy's, they just started shooting. We were going to help them, you know. I was going to go get my card and stuff. What's the problem?
Yeah, I don't think anyone would blame you for acting like that, given the way they were acting. It's no one's fault but theirs, okay?
And Kari, you're kind of back a little bit while they're kind of, and you definitely hear some people talking about the fact that there's been shit going down at the gates, and they've had these patrols in here the last week and a half, like doing rousts and checks and doing ident scans and stuff, and it is the place is on edge.
So this is more so than they usually do.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so they're putting a bad foot forward here. I was serious about making their vehicle run hot on the way back.
Okay.
Like, and not like melting down, but like the engine runs hot, and that car is going to be shot until they get that radiator fixed.
Okay.
I'll spend a flare to do that.
Yeah, I don't think we don't think we need to roll. But yeah, spend the flare, and that will definitely happen by the time they get back to the gate, because they pretty much head back there. The thing is overheating. You know, they're making some mental excuses about maybe some bullets bounced and hit the radiator or something, and they are definitely on edge. But that's one of these APC patrol vehicles that they'll have to take into the shop right now.
It's petty, but petty's about as good as we can get these days.
Yeah. Yeah. So it people will head off in different directions. You are pleased because you also realize, Poppy, that those bullets would have also probably taken out most of the glass in your project.
I mean, even if we get the papers, are they just going to come back and do this again? I mean, that was uncalled for. They've been doing this to everybody all week long.
They're going to harass you because of the lack of permits. Permits are everything to them. And if they have any angle that they can use to leverage and make your life hard, they're going to.
I mean, but half the stuff that's built here in the MSZ, I mean, I don't think everybody has permits. I mean,
no, of course not.
No, they don't give a crap about the permits, Poppy. They're,
it's leverage.
This looks pretty, this looks nice, and we're not supposed to have pretty and nice things.
We're not supposed to have pretty and nice things, and we're definitely not supposed to have pretty and nice things that are made by fellow mutants. It's the world we live in, Poppy.
I suspect probably within the, not too long after that, you will see Malik kind of come running, like somebody got word to him that you were getting hassled, Poppy. And he will show up, and he looks around at your cohort. And he's like, Carrie, Harper, how old is Malik?
30.
30. So pretty young, youngish. She's like, is everything okay? I heard that there was an incident.
Yeah, it's a kind of gesture on. I mean, the police. They came and they started shooting. They would have killed everybody.
Why did they start shooting?
I didn't have a permit, and I didn't have an ID card, and Theo dropped his, and they got mad, and Theo used his power, and they.
Whoa. He looks at you, Theo, and he says, out in the open?
They had already drawn their weapons, and all I was trying to do was to mess with their ears so that they were distracted and we could get everybody away. Normally, when my stuff works, nobody knows who it's coming from, and it was a total shit show.
They are really tense. I've been running around. They've been hassling a lot of my clients. They've been checking in. They've been looking for contraband. They're checking for non-mutants hiding in the zone. They're up in arms about something, but they're not.
Non-mutants in the zone. What are they worried about with that?
There are rumors that are, how do I put this, on the nightly news in the non-mutant areas. There are stories about mutant families having taken their non-mutant children with them into the zone, and there are these sort of urban legend horror stories about that. And I don't think it's anything, but they're using that as a pretext as well.
Malik, do you happen to have Poppy's ident card? That's apparently going to be an issue if they're going to be rousting everybody, and they'll take any excuse they can get to pick anybody up.
I think I had one once, but I either lost it or I ate it.
We've got some papers for you, so I can get that stuff together, and you can take it down to the office, and we can go and get that taken care of.
They said they want him down there within 48 hours. I don't know if that's a hard and fast timetable. They could have just been being assholes, but couldn't hurt to make sure that part's covered.
Okay. Well, Poppy, how about I come by tomorrow and we'll go down there?
Malik, I don't know if this is going to be safe. I mean, they almost killed people tonight, and my friends here, they can all handle themselves, but why don't you I appreciate your help, Malik, but we'll take the papers. Don't give them to me, give them to Theo, or actually give them to Harper.
Okay. He's gonna think. Well, okay. Why don't you guys come down by my office tomorrow morning, and we'll get you those papers. Okay.
Okay.
He says you guys should probably get off the streets. They're not going to be moving around at night, but still. Plus, it smells like some radiator fluid or something's leaking.
Yeah, damnedest thing. Those APCs just have all sorts of problems. Is there anything anybody wants to do? People they want to talk to? We can do once around on that before we kind of cut to the next morning. Give you a chance to do that. Let's start with you, Carrie, since you got like the least out of that scene. I think Carrie wants to try and see if she can find out some more about these rumors. As Carrie has the sneaking suspicion that basically maybe somebody's on the run and they're hiding out, and because just regular rumors wouldn't be enough for them to go to this much trouble.
Sure.
Like they would just hassle people at the gate, but they wouldn't be sending in like nighttime patrols. So
let's have you roll a survey. I think this is risky, small information.
Okay, I do actually have it out in survey now, so that I can actually do that. Hey, let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Might you have a devil's bargain for me on this one?
Yeah, I think it's that you get on somebody's radar.
Carrie's okay with showing up as a blip right now.
Okay.
So I will take that.
I'll make a little clock for myself here. Yeah, take an extra die.
All right, I got a 6 on the extra die I took, so
good. So what will become clear is that yes, some families have probably smuggled in their non-mutant children, because essentially when any member of a family, like let's say it was a nuclear family of 4 and the 6-year-old son turned out to be a mutant, they would take him away from his family and put him over here, and vice versa. They would take, if it was the rest of the family and not the 6-year-old, they would rip them away from that. And in some cases, some people have smuggled in, but it's very clearly, when you're asking around, it's very clearly they're using that as a pretext. They're not actually concerned about that. There's some other shit going down that has the essentially the city forces on high alert. And in fact, what you'll hear is that some of the gates that they normally transit supplies and goods and things like that they've clearly done a slowdown. Like they're not shipping things in, and certain supplies are getting tighter right now. Does that seem like fair info?
I think so.
Okay. What about you? What are you up to, Harper, having kind of exposed yourself a little bit more here?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna talk to my friend, Crystal, who is a gate guard. I want to really, what I kind of want to know is what are rumors inside, kind of like, the security forces inside the safe zone guards. What the hell are they talking about? Like, what this all is about?
Sure. I think, well, I'm going to have you roll consort. I'm going to give you an extra die for your friend, to get info. Crystal, and again, the sort of contained zone there, the guards do come out in like the nearby area, so you can run into them there. But let's have you roll.
Cool. 2 dice. Ooh, that's a 5.
So you meet up with Crystal at what kind of eating joint is by the gate?
Ooh, like, oh man, a greasy diner of some sort.
Okay, yeah. Greasy diner. There's a knockoff Starbucks across the way. It's always a Starbucks. And Crystal sees you and makes sure to kind of move to the back of the restaurant so she won't be seen really talking with you. And she's like, "What's up, Harper? Your name popped up on the alert list last night."
Yeah, I mean, normally I don't try to do that, but things got bad. There must have been some sort of incident report about that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, people were gonna get shot anyway. If this name was good for anything, might as well. Although, yeah, it kind of feels like I painted a target on my back, didn't I?
Well, it means that if you get involved in something and they check your item again, it's going to pop up with a red flag, at least for the immediate. So I'd be real careful.
Yeah, I know. Thing is, I do want to know, why do I have to be careful more so now? What the hell's happening over there?
I don't have all the details, but someone on the higher up on the city side is pulling some strings. Like there's required shipments back and forth, and they're not eliminating those or cutting those, but they're doing slowdowns. And we've got these patrol teams going in. I think something happened on the city side. I don't know what, and they're looking for some people. I think they must be some mutants did something, and they are hot to find them. I know know that they've been, there are people amongst your kind who take money to give info back. And I know that they've been passing the backsheesh down the line pretty heavy the last week, trying to see if any of their informants can give them info. It's going to get
Right.
worse before it gets better. I'm going to tell you that.
Of course, when it gets worse, people who get hit are those who probably don't have much to do with why things are getting worse, right?
Well, that's what I can tell you.
Well, thanks, Crystal. I guess I'm buying you dinner.
Yes, you are.
Fair enough.
Thea, what about you? I assume you're filled with righteous fury.
Oh yeah, plenty of righteous fury. Been sitting here debating options. I think I actually want to reach out to my rival Tuesday, the information trader, and they're I'm sure they'll realize that if I'm coming to them, it's special and it's probably going to be costly to me. But
what is Tuesday's office like?
I don't know that I would have ever seen Tuesday's office. He's a name on the street. He's somebody that I'm familiar with. We've seen each other on the street, but it's mostly all about the information trading. I've never been in his office.
And
be phone calls or something.
Well, you'll have to track them down, and Tuesday has a couple of people that are clearly bodyguards that when you show up, kind of give you the once over, pat you down for weapons, and you'll go in, and Tuesday's got an office. Like everything here has padded corners. There's padding on the walls, super soft chairs, things like that. And you'll see kind of a heavy set guy behind a desk. And he's got some papers there, and he's got a keyboard, and you recognize him by his voice because you have talked to him on the phone. And he's like, "You're Theo, huh?"
I'm Theo.
You notice when he holds up his hands, he's been typing.
Yeah.
And you can see that his skin from his fingers up, there's this like bruising that has formed and is going away very rapidly. And like, if you see him like does the thing where he taps his fingers on the thing, you see as soon as he taps something, he gets a bruise, and it almost immediately does this sort of rainbow hued healing on it.
Okay, so definitely one of us.
Why would you, someone who the last time I spoke called me an asshole, why would you come to my office like this?
It's not personal, but I'm sure there's shit going down. The cops have been around. They've been messing with us. There's all these rumors about families with normal kids.
Yeah, smoke screen.
There's all this stuff going on.
Smoke screen. They're looking for some mutants who've been pulling some jobs in the city.
Okay, this is legit. You're not.
This
yanking
is
my
legit.
chain?
Look, I'm looking for them too because they're paying top dollar. Apparently, there's some group, don't have any details yet. It's not really my area I run in for info, but rumor is that they hit a bank, they hit an ice center, and they hit a server farm over on the city side, and like really clearly had powers.
Are they looking for personal gain, or do they have an agenda that you're aware of at this point?
I don't know who these fucks are. I just know that they're making shit tense here for us.
Gotcha. All right. I know we don't see eye to eye about how information passes in our community, but if we could come to some kind of agreement, I would really like to be in the loop on this so that I can get an idea of what's going down and I can protect my people.
Yeah, that's not going to happen because you and we've got bad blood, and this is a high dollar thing. Unless you've got something for me, concrete.
You're looking for a trade of information?
Yeah, well, we've got something.
Okay.
Or if you get something.
I'll keep that in mind. What would it cost just to put a name on the line that I don't want to totally fuck them up, but I just want to make their life a little bit less comfortable. I just want some FUD out there on them. How much would that cost me?
It goes
just a little harassment.
You mean these guys that they're hunting for?
Nah, I'm gonna give them the badge number of the cop that was in the lead harassing us. I just want to make their life a little less comfortable. That's all. I don't want them hurt. I just, it's petty, but they came in, they intimidated my folks. They started shooting. It's no good. And I don't want them to rest easy at night. Just making their life a little less comfortable because of info on the line. That'd be great.
2 cash. And I know people who can make his life really unpleasant for the next few months.
2 cash, unpleasant only.
Yeah.
I'm not talking any kind of physical.
No, I don't whack cops.
All right. 2 cash is yours.
Wow. This isn't a fine arrangement we came to today.
Desperate times.
Yeah. I'm going to let you walk out of here alive.
I appreciate it.
Poppy?
Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Poppy, what about you? Are you still upset about this stuff?
Yeah, and I think Poppy's going to go to their friend Marcus, who's a construction worker. And Marcus helped us before when we got the refrigeration stuff.
Yeah.
And explain to him that what happened, and ask him if he can get his people to set up detours throughout the city, especially around the Poppy Dome, to divert the police into back alleys and roundabout routes all through the city if they try to get back to the Poppy Dome, to make it very difficult for them to get there.
Ooh.
In Detroit, if you get off the main roads, you get on these back alleys that go on block after block of burnt out buildings, abandoned factories, dead ends, one-way streets. You can get lost real quick. So
yeah,
try to set that up.
This is not a great time to be pulling that kind of stuff. They're real hot. Are you sure you want to do this now?
Well, tell you what, why don't we do just a small version? Just make it difficult for them to get where they want to go. We're not going to hurt anybody, we won't stop them, but it'll take twice as long.
I'll tow a few cars into some strategic places. I know where there's some old concrete barricades. They're stacked up. I'll move them other places. I can give you at least, maybe an extra 100 yards space.
Okay. Yeah, that'll do.
You think they're going to come back on you?
I don't know. I think I think they will. And I think this is just a start, maybe we'll start here, with my place, but I think, other people are getting harassed too. And, maybe we all work together.
This is Poppy. Other people have been harassed for the last 4 or 5 years.
Oh yeah.
It's just that you built something and now you're tasting it. You never had anything out in the open like this. I mean, I know you. This is what everybody's been feeling. So don't think you're anything too special on the radar on that score.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right.
All right. Well, I'll get my brothers and we'll get that. We'll go do that tonight, just so everything's copacetic. Okay.
Okay.
I said I'll see you at the church in a couple days.
Okay.
He says he says church. He just because that's the only word he can think of to call it.
Yeah, I think I decided it was actually, the Christian iconography.
Yeah.
We'll let it stand. So I think it is a church.
Yeah. You call it a poppy dome. Some people call it that, but others are calling it a church. So let's have a scene where we kind of hard frame the four of you together again. Like maybe early the next day. Does that seem cool? And we established that you had the old clothing factory that is your kind of hangout space. So we take up there, and probably have had that exchange of information about what you have found, and so let's cut to Carrie after that exchange. What's your thinking?
I think that Carrie's going to come in. She's going to kind of share what she was able to learn kind of after we broke out last night, and of course we'll need to make that trek once we get everybody together. We'll need to make that trek over to Malik's to get the paperwork for Poppy and make sure that's sorted out. But we definitely need to figure out what's going on with whoever has got them riled up, and see if we can get that situation sorted out before somebody in our community gets hurt. Because it was a pretty close thing last night.
If they try to arrest me again, just let them. I don't think they're going to be able to hold me for long. I don't want anybody to get hurt. Just let them take me, and I'll see you guys shortly thereafter, I'm sure. As an outlier, I think I'm going to be the prime target for whatever their problem is.
Poppy, they take you in. My fear is that they're going to start doing experiments on you. You're different than what they're used to. You've got powers beyond what they're used to, and I mean, your big lovable heart is soft and kind, and these are not soft and kind people. They think we're things. They don't think we're humans, and I just hate to see you go through that. I'm afraid that if they take you, you may not be coming back. And when you come back, I'm afraid of what they'll have done. You're muted.
If it comes down to just me or a crowd of people getting hurt, I mean, I don't mind.
I understand. I would do the same thing. I understand. But we got to keep that from happening.
I think the main thing we need to do is we need to head this thing off before we get to another point like that. It was a close thing last night for everybody involved. I mean, it was lucky that Poppy was able to do what they were able to do, but it was really great that Harper was there because that could have ended much uglier. But we need to head this thing off. We need to figure out who these people are that have gotten them riled up and deal with that situation. I don't particularly like the idea of helping the security forces. Like generally, screw those guys, but we can't afford to have them running roughshod over everybody here, looking for somebody that's got them riled up. We gotta direct them somewhere else. I'm perfectly happy to send them on a wild damn goose chase if I can.
Totally.
I don't really actually want to help them, but we got to get the heat off our people.
As I understand it, they are after some people that attacked a bank and an ice center and a third spot.
Server
I forget.
farm.
Server farm. I mean, if we gave them those people, do you think they would leave us all alone?
We're not giving them those people.
I wouldn't give them those people unless we knew what those people were after, what their motivations are, because likely is not their fellow mutants, and based on their targets, they may be doing work against the system, which in theory I would be in support of. We need to figure out how to mitigate its effect on our community and find out what these people are actually up to, who they are, and depending on what they're trying to go for, then we can figure out whether they're worth selling out or not. I'm not comfortable with planning to sell them out before we know what's going on.
Yeah, that makes sense. How do we find these people then, maybe, and talk to them?
I don't know. I can try talking to my friend Vaughn. He's on the streets. Maybe he has heard of something. But I mean, Tuesday is a pretty well-informed guy, and he doesn't know who these people are, and it's apparently big money to find them. So my guess is the kind of jobs they're pulling off, they've got some experience behind them. They may be funded.
Yeah, they've definitely got some money behind them. If they're hitting those kind of high-profile targets and they haven't gotten caught,
they almost certainly have somebody on the inside as well. I mean, these are big jobs.
And the locations they hit, Lowell, are they inside the MSZ or are they out in the larger city?
Out in the larger city.
Okay.
That's the thing is they're hitting, non-mutant targets.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's do this. Let's take a 5-minute break, and when we come back, let's do a once around on sort of lines of inquiry and following up on that. Sound cool? Okay.
Cool.
Got my Gauntlet Con shirt on for today. So let's keep that same order we had, and roll through. And so, what do you think is going to be your line of inquiry, Carrie? Like, who would you go talk to? What is it you're looking for? Assuming it's sort of later on in that day.
Okay. Whew. I'm thinking that these people have some sort of financial support, and I'm thinking maybe trying to track that and see who has the kind of networking that could get them easily in and out of the mutant safe zone and move them around through the city in general. Who could provide them with that level of access and funding, and try to trace that, because that can't be that many people.
Okay. So this seems like risky. And who would you go to? Do you want to use one of your friends to help?
Yeah, I'm thinking that I'm thinking she would try to. She would probably try and go talk to her friend Mercedes, who is a sort of a religious leader slash like activist type, and I'm thinking she might have some knowledge of the rest of the city, because she can actually move in and out of the safe zone. Like she's normal. So she's
Sure.
So she's my main connection in and out, I think.
Then let's say we'll have this as survey, and we'll do it as risky standard effect rather than low effect. I think your friends will raise the possible effect level up. Does that seem fair?
That seems fair. And let's see. We've got one in survey. I think I'll push a little bit on this one because I want it to work. So that'll be 2 more stress. And so that'll give me 2 dice to roll. Ooh, still not good though. 3. So that didn't go all that well.
So I think the consequence here is going to be twofold. One is to draw attention, and the other is sort of reduced information. Do you want to resist one of those?
Yes, I'm going to try and resist the. I think I'm going to try and resist the reduced information.
Okay. Let me put a couple more ticks on my clock here. So roll insight to resist. You're muted.
Okay, I rolled a 6 on the resistance. So
nice. So you don't take any stress. So you'll go and talk to Mercedes, and eventually she'll sit you down. She has to be back in the human zone, after dark. So she's here just during the day, and she'll say, there are 3 people that I know of that move things back and forth. And they've got connections, they've got contacts, they've got some people bought out, and I use them from time to time to help families get reunited and that kind of thing. Whoever these people are that are doing this, they're not using any of those networks. Like, all 3 of them are upset because this is disrupting what they are doing. It isn't good for their business. So they're not using any of the usual networks or means.
So they're entirely operating outside of from outside, basically. None of the normal people in here are working.
There are 3 fixers here in the mutant secure zone who can reliably get people back and forth, can reliably do things to the city, and they're not involved with this. Does that seem like fair info?
I think so, especially with my terrible roll. So
Yeah.
So I will pass that information along to everybody.
Oh yeah. Harper, what about you?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what would be their line of inquiry. I think the one they'd be interested in is like Crystal mentioned they pissed off someone. I think Harper might want to know who is that someone they pissed off.
Okay. I think it'll be consort.
Mm-hmm. I think what Harper's gonna do is they're gonna their name's kind of already out again, as in it's kind of flared up. So I think they're gonna try and reach back. I think it'll be consort. Yeah, they're gonna try and reach back to like some old friends that they haven't talked to in a while.
Okay.
In the city, like other fellow politicians' children or other folks they've not really talked to. So I don't know if that'll affect the effect, but yeah, I'll take consort.
Okay.
It's 1 die. Do you have a bargain?
Oh, I think we could, essentially, this whole process has already drawn a little bit of attention. I could add a little more attention onto that clock.
This mysterious clock. Well, you know what? Let's not. I was gonna say let's make things easy for us because it's our last session, but you know what? No, let's up the ante. Sure, why not?
Okay, then. You get that extra die.
I might need it. Okay. Oh dear. Well, that's a 3.
That's a what? Sorry?
It's a 3.
It's a 3.
It's a 3.
Threes. Everything's 3.
Night of 3s. What's up
Night
with
of
that?
3s. So let me see here. I think that when you go to talk to your people, talk to your friends, that they say, we shouldn't be talking to you. We had some calls from the security services and from ICE asking about you, and we don't want to, we can't afford to get picked up having any kind of communication with you. They'll say, all we've heard is that a bunch of money got taken and that somebody's highly placed server farm got ganked, and that people are all off the hook pissed.
I think
It's not just one person. Like, it's a bunch of people with money that are upset.
Okay. Yeah, that seems fair. Sorry for adding more ticks to that clock, guys.
Does that seem like fair info?
Yeah, for what I got. Yeah. Same as what Chris said. For what I got, that seems fair.
Then let's come to Theo with that information in hand.
I was originally thinking of talking to Vaughn, but he's just on the street. And if he did talk to somebody and found something out that could jeopardize him. So instead, I'm gonna do a Hail Mary and go see my good friend Faye, the fortune teller, because I think she does the touristy fortune telling thing for the people that stop by, but she's a good friend, and I think there's more to her than that.
And she's glad to see you. She hasn't talked to you in a while. And you know that she's a mutant, but she doesn't have any visible mutations. So you're still not sure exactly what it is with her. But she'll say, you're hunting for something?
Yeah, Faye. There's some group nobody seems to know anything about that's done some jobs cityside, and it's causing all kinds of havoc. It, you know, Poppy, right? Poppy took some bullets to protect the people in his little chapel.
Is Poppy dead?
No, Poppy's fine. Poppy can deal with that kind of stuff, but
people shouldn't know that Poppy can deal with that kind of stuff. That's not good for people to know.
Unfortunately, they do now. And I mean, he's on the radar. We're all on the radar. I did some questionable stuff that I probably shouldn't have done as things were escalating. I know, Faye, that you like to play fortune teller for the people around the city, but I think you might actually be able to dig a little deeper than that with a good friend. I don't know. Maybe I'm going beyond my proper boundaries here, but we're desperate. We need to find something out about who's doing this work, what they're after. It's causing the cops to come and harass people, and it's putting us all in danger.
Let's have you roll hunt.
Okay. All right, so that's one die. What's the devil's bargain here?
I think the devil's bargain is that you're going to put Faye in the crosshairs.
Okay, we'll take it.
Okay, there's an extra die.
No threes.
Okay.
Oh, come on. It's a 2 and a 1.
Well, that's a 3. She says,
oh, crying out loud.
I shouldn't be telling you this. And she she clearly doesn't want to tell you this. I'm going to give you a name. It's not what you want, but it's a lead to what you want. Okay.
I appreciate it, Faye.
I'm
sorry.
And I don't, just make sure this doesn't come back on me.
I'll do everything I can to keep it from doing that.
It's a guy named Kiyomi.
Kiyomi?
Kiyomi.
Okay. Who is Kiyomi?
That's all I'm going to say.
All
You're going to have
you got.
to drag back on that.
Okay. Thank you, Faye. You've always been good to me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I will see you around.
Is there anything I can do for you?
Yeah, the next time you come by, I know that by your place they do that fake Turkish delight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Need some Turkish delight?
Yeah, well, it's not real Turkish delight, but it's
Close enough for an MSC?
Yeah, exactly. So.
All right. Some MSC Turkish delight special.
Yep.
All right. I'll make that happen.
It's agar with sugar in it. Poppy, What are you up to?
I think maybe there's a scene with Poppy in the church. There's a midnight vigil for all the other outliers that come in at nighttime.
Mm-hmm.
And Poppy's moving around, kind of talking, consoling with them. And Poppy's stressed out and kind of lost and uncertain, and just trying to comfort themselves, I think, really.
You want to kind of indulge your vice to clear some stress here?
Sure, I'll take it.
Yeah. Do you have any cash?
Yeah,
Drop a cash, and we'll let you do that.
sure. There's some nice food just passing around to people they bought. And that's how do you do that? You use your worst one, right? So I rolled
Worst.
2 dice, take the worst die,
Yeah.
and the number I get
Is how much stress you'll get back.
okay.
It's a good time for boxcars.
I got 2, so I get 2 stress back.
Yes, you do.
Okay. All right.
And I think as a corollary to that is that you will be able to go with Malik. Malik will get those papers. Malik will say, you know, I want you to take a local attorney down with you just to be on the safe side so they don't grab you up or anything, okay?
Okay, Malik.
And you will go down there. You have papers. It's like the worst DMV you've ever been in. You probably spend hours there, and it is what protects you from getting grabbed up or spotted or highlighted. Anything is the ponderousness of the bureaucracy here. Is that nobody cares, that you are insulated by their apathy. But eventually they will get you a card, and they actually get you a card with a heavier laminate that is for they essentially you're classified as hazardous skin condition. So they get you this. So it's probably maybe half a centimeter thick.
So just kind of reach out and absorb it into my body.
Yeah. The woman doesn't even react. She's just like 32. Shall we pull the group back together to talk, or shall we do another once around? What would you like?
I'd say, do we have an idea of where we're gonna do, or where to go, or should we do some more exploration?
I think it'd be good to get everybody together for at least like a quick chat to see what directions we should go in now.
Yeah. Get some ideas before we go off individually to screw us up more.
Yeah. So you can meet up. We'll assume that the information that you've gotten has been passed around, that they're not using the usual channels, that they hit some people with big money, and that there's a person named Kiyomi that's involved.
Anyone heard of this Kiyomi?
Never heard the name before.
Nothing about him. The only thing I can think of to do at this point is go talk to Tuesday again. And that's not a thing I want to do. Both because I don't want to put the person that gave me this information at risk, and 2, we don't know what Kiyomi's up to. And if Tuesday puts that name on the line, things are going to get real hot right away. Anybody else have an idea on how to get more information on a random person?
Just hit the streets.
So could Harper infiltrate into like a data center or something, like the normals, the government, maybe they have records of this person.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah,
See,
the
Harper
tricky,
kind of. Oh, good.
well, I was saying like the tricky part of all of this is we don't want to get that name into the channel of information relating to this either until we know what's going on. Like once that name gets out there, if we hit the streets with that name, that's going to be out there. We can't stop it once we let it out.
One thing you guys might consider doing to assist is to team up. Maybe, one person going with another person to lend help by spending a stress to give an extra die. Or if everybody wants to, go and do this, you could figure out a skill that would be appropriate and someone could lead a team action, which means that everybody rolls and you take the best roll. There's a little bit of stress potential cost for the person who's leading the team action. But you might want to look and see if you have something that would be appropriate for that.
Thing is, this is me telling out a character. Yeah, all we have is a name. Actually, no, I'll say this in character. We have a name. We didn't have that. But no, you're right. We don't want to. At the very least, we can figure out who this person is.
Well, I mean, it seems like the government, the normals, they have records on all of us apparently, and if we can find out where they keep those records, maybe we can find this Kiyomi in their files.
That is probably the one way where we don't get their name out to people who probably shouldn't have their name, I guess.
But we need somebody who can get into those systems too.
So maybe, I don't know, would a group action of a prowl work maybe?
I would say, yeah, a prowl or finesse. I would say either one of those would be if somebody wants to do a group action on that.
I'll lead that.
Okay.
I'm pretty decent at finesse. I think yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure Theo's really good at prowl.
I've got 2 prowl. I've got 2 finesse.
For purposes of stress, does it matter who leads it?
Yes,
So
they're the ones who are going to be
yeah.
taking.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Here's what. Oh, yeah. So here's what happens when Leandro leads the action. Everybody rolls, and we take the best result. However, Leandro will take a stress for each person who ends up with a 1 to 3 result. So could potentially get up to 3 stress from that.
But it doesn't really matter then. The leader, whatever their how many dots they have in that skill, does that matter?
They just have to have at least 1.
Okay.
The dots just give us each that many dice.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. You roll like a regular action roll. The leader is the one who just takes the stress.
So we're all pretty close on stress, so it's not a big deal, I guess, who leads it. I would Harper has like some like infiltration kind of skill powers.
Mm-hmm.
If we were to use those, maybe would we get maybe greater effect or an extra die or something, or how would that work?
Harper, what would you use? Which power would you spend for?
I'll probably use spit and image for
Okay.
this.
Spend that and we'll take up the effect.
Cool.
Sound good?
Yep.
So let's everybody roll their finesse.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Imagine if we all get like just a wave of 3s.
No, you've used up all the 3s in the roller.
Unfortunately, no, we haven't.
Okay.
I just rolled a 3 and a 2.
Okay.
So that's 1 stress.
I got a 5 and a 2, I think.
So the 5 is the one. Better.
I got
a 5 and a 1. Excuse me.
Okay.
I got a 4.
4.
Okay, I still haven't rolled mine. And I got a 5.
Okay.
It's only 1 stress.
So the 5 is the best result. So you're not going to get a huge amount. Like you're not going to get everything, but I'm going to give you a bunch. Is sort of the consequence here. And I imagine this is a leverage style sort of pass off distraction, get to the server. We see a montage of that. Eventually you'll pull up the name Kiyomi and you'll get a report. Kiyomi used to be the gang leader for a group called the High Street Drifters. And he got whacked a couple months ago. And there's incomplete information, but apparently a guy named DeKoven took over the High Street Drifters after that. And they were kind of a nasty gang. But before that, they've kind of fallen a little bit off the radar, though they've hit. It's pretty clear they're in connection with the torching of a business, an attack on a rival gang. And the thing that'll pop up for you is that they killed a mutant named Corey Zagain, who in the records you see is listed as a informant. So essentially they whacked a government informant. But otherwise they've kind of gone quiet on, they're not doing their usual like protection rackets or things like that they used to do. And that is the lead that you're going to get.
Okay, that's good to know.
Would any of us know where the High Street Drifters tend to hang out?
Shockingly, High Street.
Okay.
But yeah, not to be too flippant, but yeah, I think you will know where they used to hang out and those neighborhoods there, and you figure that's probably a good place to start. It seems to you that they've got like probably another crib that they're hanging out at, but that's a good place to start. Does that seem like fair info? Okay. So what is your next step to try to infiltrate the High Street Drifters?
I think that's got to be our next spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have an idea.
Sure.
Tell me what you guys think of it. Based on this intel that we just picked up, these aren't good guys that are working for mutants. These are, I mean, it sounds like they're out for themselves. What do you think of my giving Tuesday a call and trading some names for maybe some more intel from him?
Sure.
I'd like to dig a little deeper into this just to make sure. Like,
Yeah,
we've got some intel. We can follow up on it,
it's
and
corroborated
Absolutely.
a bit.
Then let's do another once around before we go to an engagement roll. That is a fair thing to do. So let's start with you, Carrie.
I think Carrie's going to try and basically take a look around the High Street area and sort of just ear to the ground, see what folks have been making of this of the gang's conspicuous absence lately.
Sure. That seems like a survey. Sure. Is anybody going with you to help?
If anybody could, that'd be great.
I got you. I'll help you.
Yeah, and you don't have to have the skill to help. You just spend a stress.
Okay.
Okay. I'll roll and I'll give me 2 dice.
2 dice, yeah. And you two of you are kind of cruising around casing the place.
That's boxcars.
Mm.
People around here love the high street drifters. They are dispersing money in this area. They are taking care of people here. They're still keeping a low profile, but you can tell that in this area, they are putting cash out there to make sure that people like them around here. And I think with a critical, you will pick up that they've got a couple of mutants that nobody ever wants to say that somebody's an enhanced power mutant, but they think that a couple of his people are. And in fact, one of the things that you two will pick up is that DeKoven, somebody heard something about him a few years ago that he can actually, like, he hears radio waves and stuff. Like he can hear radio and cell phone transmissions and all of that kind of stuff. And that's what you will pick up. Does that seem like fair info for a crit?
Yeah. Do they seem to like them like people like the mafia kind of thing, where they kind of know that they're doing bad things, but they're good to the neighborhood? Or do they like them as they sincerely feel they actually are decent people? And,
It's a mixed bag. It's clear that some of these high street drifters are still kind of from the old gang, pretty scumbag. But there definitely seems to be a different bent for some of them. So it is a mixed bag.
Okay.
Now, does it seem like because remember part of the story was the original leader had been taken out.
Yep.
And this new person had taken over. Does it seem like the turn towards friendly neighborhood relations happened with the new guy coming in?
Absolutely. 100%.
Okay. All right.
So with that information in hand, Harper, what do you want to do?
I think I'm going to spend the time probably staking out High Street and snooping around to actually try and find them.
Okay. You want to call that survey?
Yeah, I think it's in a survey. They try to find them or like their activities. Like,
Sure.
what specifically are they doing? Yeah,
I'll help with that.
That sounds good.
Takes the
So-
stress.
Yep.
cool. Might need to spend some cash to indulge some vices before doing anything. I'm so stressed. That's a 6. Finally, we get the 6s.
So there are some of the people around, and you will pick up that the place that they're in it used to be a literal underground dance club. Like it's below ground, and that's where they're holed up at. And it used to be like an earthquake shelter, got turned into a dance studio kind of thing, and that's the place. And you can spot, there's an entryway that looks like, a sort of a subway walk down, and that there's another entryway, exit way that's one of those sort of emergency exit kind of things. And pretty concealed. You'll also notice that, much like Poppy suggested, that this neighborhood is not easy to roll into with a vehicle. It's not explicitly blocked off. It's just it's harder to get into this area. Does that seem fair? Okay. So that's the info you've got.
So guys, we know where they're at. We know what they're about. I guess let's take a minute. I mean, what are we trying to do here? I mean, We're not
I'm
going to
not-
kill them. I mean, are we going to try to convince them to stop what they're doing, or to do it more, or do it a different way? Or I mean, what's our goal here?
I don't know that we do know exactly what they're doing. I mean, we know what they're doing on the street level, and that could either be their, buying favor, mafia style, so that they can do deeper, worse things uninhibited. We just don't know.
Well, and the stuff that they're pulling could be part of something bigger. Like
It
your
definitely-
average gang does not hit a server farm. Like
No.
that's
And
serious.
ice. They hit ice.
Yeah.
They hit the ice center.
Yeah, and when you say ICE, I'm presuming that's like immigration and customs
Yes.
enforcement. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. We're not dealing with like a
Which I'm
business.
assuming is actually
ice factory.
mice. Mice in this would be mutant,
Right.
you know.
But they're not the ones hurting people. It's the police that are coming in and harassing and hurting people. I mean, they, you know, we want that to stop. You know, whatever they're doing with the government and the normals, I don't know what part we have to play in that.
Is there? Here's the other thing. I mean, I don't necessarily want to give these guys up to the cops because they're cops, and that's just not a good precedent to start. But I don't know if they're trying to keep the heat up, if they're still active out there, or if they're trying to lay low and let the heat die down. But the cops apparently aren't going to let up on this thing until they get something. Is there a way that we could, talk to these guys and let them, and maybe we could work with them to set up some sort of red herring to lead the security folks off on a wild goose chase? I mean, it's Detroit. Canada's right over there. Maybe we can make them think that the guys made a run into Canada.
Yeah,
I mean,
I like that.
and I doubt the security forces will bother with pursuing them in there. They'll just mark it as another.
Don't go there. It's Windsor,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
But then we're going to have to convince them to stop what they're doing.
Or at
That's-
least lay low for long enough to where the cops don't pick up on it again.
Right. Yeah.
Or perhaps they can help spread some mutant security. I mean, we kind of need to patrol our own. I'm not saying we're going to start taking out cops, but we should be somewhat organized so that when the cops are coming in, that they're coming in on our turf. I don't want to start a bullet war with cops, but
the problem is we don't have the firepower to even do that. Like the only thing we can legitimately do is get the heat off us. And that's what I'm suggesting. Like any serious organization, we know how that ends. Like we've been down that road before. Like it ends with them basically like cracking down hard on a bunch of people who can't take the hard crackdown. Like this place barely runs. We all know that. We just barely make it, make it through each year. We just barely get the supplies we need.
Here's an idea. And it's a dumb idea, but it's my idea. I'm going to give one of you a letter that spells out everything we've heard about the High Street Drifters, the Kiyomi, who was whacked by Dakova. Everything that we know is going to be in this letter. I will, by myself, go present myself to these people and try to talk to them. And if I don't come back, send that letter to Tuesday.
You're right. That is a dumb idea.
If I don't come back, you sell the info.
Look, I mean, we're a team. There's no reason for you to go in there alone.
The reason to go in alone is so that the damage is reduced to just one of us. They don't have to know about the rest of us. If we go together, they're going to know who we are. And it needs to be a letter to Tuesday, because if DeKoven can listen in on the radio waves, no phone calls, nothing like that. It's got to be hand to hand. It's got to be sent by mail. It's got to be something that's not on the wire.
Well, we can leave the letter with anybody. We can all go in there together. We can leave it with Malik or.
I would be. Whoever sends the letter is putting themselves at risk to some extent, because if Tuesday has any idea who it's coming from, he'll sell that information. He doesn't care about us.
No offense, but maybe Harper might be the better person to talk to them. You might remember the police, the incident we just had.
Yeah. It's definitely better with words in talking. I'm a little bit more about the manifestos, I guess.
Yeah.
So here's the question. I hear leaving this with somebody, the group going in. I hear one person going in. Of course, as a GM, my druthers is the first choice. So I can put all of you in danger. And in fact, I'll say you can probably make a couple copies. You can probably figure out a way to do an anonymous drop.
Yeah, we can set it up as just a dead drop, and if we make it out of there, go pull it out. You'll pull it out of your mailbox or whatever.
Maybe Harper and Theo can go in, and then Wicker and I can sort of be ready to be called in if needed, to use some muscle if needed.
That seems reasonable. Send in the sociable ones, and then the people that like knock stuff over and burn things down, wait outside just in case.
Okay. I think we have a plan. I think we have a plan that doesn't involve going in guns blazing. That makes sense. Is this operation particularly bold or daring? I would say yes. So that's another die. Does it expose a vulnerability? I don't think it's either a vulnerability or strongest. So we're at 2 dice. I'd say you've gotten friends who provide you with insight. So we'll give an extra die, take that up to 3. I think we drop it down to 2 because it's kind of a higher tier target. They've got more muscle. They're a little bit, above your pay grade right now. So that's a 2 die engagement roll. So Harper, Theo, I think the last time Harper rolled the engagement roll.
I think I did the first one, so somebody else do it.
So Theo,
I've done nothing but 2s and 3s all night long.
You're due.
Yeah.
Your time is now. Your time is now.
Double 6s, do it.
All right. Oh, my best is a 4 this time.
So there's a montage of Poppy, Carrie kind of in position, of Theo and Harper going in, negotiating with some of these gang people, making arrangements. They get patted down for weapons, get patted down for bugs, all of that kind of stuff. And you get brought into this underground dance club. And they've got some tables there and some couches, and there's some people sitting around. There's maybe a dozen people down here. And when we take up is the moment that you see DeKoven. He's sitting there. He's got some people around him. He's clearly in charge, shaved head. He's got some tattoos on it that almost look like a circuit board that he's done on top of his head. He looks like a discount store Vin Diesel. And when we take up is the moment that you've come in to talk. You've been announced, been brought in. That Theo sees Faye's body on the ground, sort of behind one of these couches. Like, clearly she got brought in and whacked.
Immediately, like I like shoot Theo a look, just to be like, stay calm.
My boy said.
Theo's looking catatonic at this point.
My boy said you wanted to talk to me. You had some business with me.
Yeah, your boys are right. Well, first off, we were curious about, well, you and your lot and the kind of stuff your lot have been pulling. Some high-profile stuff. That's what we've been hearing.
I don't know what you're talking about, and I don't know who the F you are. Maybe we want to start there? Vampiro?
Let's see, I'm trying to think. How would they play it? Oh, I guess compared to you, I'm nobody important. Just someone looking out for some folks, some very nice folks. Have you seen that? What are we calling it? The Poppy Dome? It's a nice place, right?
Is that church that got built? One of my boys went down there and took a look at it.
Yeah. It's a lovely place. And I like to think it's like one of the many things that makes this
Seems like a dumb idea to build shit out of glass around here.
Well, some people like the aesthetic. Anyway, I don't know if you've noticed. What was his name again? Out of character. What's his name again?
The Coven.
The Coven. Yes. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Are me and Theo just standing?
Yeah. You eventually say, yeah, go ahead and sit down.
Okay. Like, does Theo sit down, or do I have to make them sit down?
That's a good question, Theo.
Theo will eventually sit down. He's a little slow to do it. He's very, very restrained at this point.
Some of his boys are standing around. They're clearly kind of watching because they don't know what your deal is. So go on. You were saying, what was your name?
Harper Wells.
Harper Wells. Okay. All right, Harpo. Tell me the story here.
I think Harper will. I don't know if I can phrase it properly.
What? Give me the. What is the pitch that you're giving him here?
Yeah, I had a pitch, but then you mentioned Faye's body, and the pitch is out of my head. I really suddenly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Suddenly I really don't want to work with this guy. So I don't know what to pitch him, but I think what Harper will pitch is that we'll basically try to say like the heat, there's just the heat that's coming around the mutant safe zone, and I don't think Harper was usually going to tell them a sob story about what happened at the Poppy Dome, but I think instead they pivot to that the ground beneath their feet is shrinking if nobody's like Harpo Wells and this guy can find them and finger them for all the stuff that's happening. And I think that's what Harper's trying to like get across, is that like they are on borrowed time.
So this seems like sway.
Mm-hmm.
Theo, are you assisting in this sway?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's have you mark a stress.
Yep. I'm up to 7. When I go past 9, I take a trauma, correct?
Yes.
Also, you get knocked out. That's 2
So
dice.
now you got 3 dice. I think we're talking a desperate action, so you get to mark XP.
Yay.
Do you have anything to maybe boost up your effect?
I didn't put on shifting masks, so no. I don't think I have anything else. I mean, and I don't think I think he'll notice if I do that in the middle of talking to him.
Okay. So
Three's
you
fine.
are at 3 dice.
Okay. Roll. And that's a 5.
So what is it you're particularly asking me, Harper? Is it you're telling me that I need to be quiet? Let's say I was involved in the business that you're talking about. You're saying I need to be quiet for a while. Is that what you're telling me? You're coming in here and telling me to do?
Theo's going to butt in. He's just going to put it out bluntly. We want protection for our people from the cops. You're stirring shit up. We want some protection for our people. There's innocent people that aren't involved in any of the shit that you're doing. Power to you for taking on the norms. Fuck those people. But please, take care of your own.
All right. I get what you're saying. I get it. This convo we've had. And I'll give you that you are, how do I put this best? I think you're in some ways kind of the deciding vote for us. You could come in here into our house and tell us this. And I get it. I tell you what, we're going to play it cool for a while.
Stupidly, Theo's going to burst in again.
Oh, Jesus.
Can
I
I
was about
bury-
to smile and say something, but yeah, Theo can butt in.
Can I bury Faye? Would you let me have her body and bury her? Give her a proper burial. She took me in when I was a fresh mutant. I had no family, and now she's dead. I can't do anything about that, but I can bury her.
You don't have to worry about it because we'll put you in the ground next to her. Because you two ain't walking out of here.
For fuck's sake.
All right.
I was afraid of that.
At that point,
So before we go to there, I want to know exactly where Carrie and Poppy are.
I think we're probably lurking right outside the subway entrance you mentioned.
Okay.
And I imagine there's a couple toughs there guarding the door or whatever. Maybe
Yeah.
we're
And there's a moment where your friends have gone down in there and they've clearly been down there for a while, and you see one of them kind of touch their Bluetooth, and they step down to pull the grate, like pull the subway, the slide door, like they are going to shut and lock this door.
That gets really, really super hot.
Okay. Let's have you mark that.
Like I said, it melts in their hand.
Okay. So even as they're doing that, they will start to pull it and then, pull back as it gets red hot.
And then 2 big globs of slime bang their head into the wall.
Okay. And so we'll assume that the 2 of you are running in because you know something bad is about to go down. So Theo, what do you do?
I am going to hopefully do rupture better than I did before.
Okay.
So that's a flare.
Yep.
And rolling on focus.
Yep.
I mean, I've got 1 die for focus. What's the bargain?
I think the bargain is that yeah, you're gonna get that off, you know, and I'm gonna give you the extra die. But there are a couple people that have guns drawn, and you're probably gonna get shot here. Well, you're gonna get shot.
Do you want an assist as well?
Yeah, if you can spare it.
I can spare it.
So, okay. So if I get shot, let's talk harm. How does harm work in this game?
So harm has essentially, you've got light harm, which is the level 1. You've got 2 boxes of that. You've got level 2 harm, which is what you would take from a gunshot in this case. And when you take that, you're at -1 die.
Okay.
And it takes a little bit longer to heal, though you guys have built up some stuff for that.
Why not?
That's what I want to hear. You're losing money not doing that. So that's 3 dice with
All right.
Harper's assist there.
All right. This is gonna work. Oh, don't go anywhere. 4 is my best.
So I think all of the standard mutants will all like go and they experience a vertigo, but this does weed out them from DeKoven and then 2 other people that are sitting there that don't get affected by this, that you're like, they're the other 2 people that have powers. Does that seem like a fair thing?
Yeah. So we got 3 total
Yeah.
mutants with extra special powers.
DeKoven, there's a big heavy-set guy, on one of the couches, and there's a woman who's off a little bit to the side who's been kind of reading a magazine throughout this. And those 3 are not affected by this thing, but the others are going to be, for the next 20, 30 seconds, puking from vertigo or clutching their ears from that piercing.
Yeah.
Harper, what do you do?
Okay. I think I can only target 1 person of this. So I'm going to target Coven. I'm going to use Plato's Cave. It lets me focus my energy to casting a target to an illusion.
Okay.
And I think what the illusion's going to be is that it's going to be kind of whatever DeKoven wants to see, which probably the 2 of us with our heads blown off or something like that.
Okay.
Put it in a
so let's
sedate state.
I think that we'll use, to be generous about this, we'll use sway for that.
Okay. Thanks. What's the position?
I think it's desperate.
Thank you.
I'm gonna assist and take another stress. Why the hell not at this point?
Absolutely. So 3 dice.
Okay. Okay, that's a 6.
So yeah, he gets that. You do that thing where his eyes get that kind of mirrored glaze over, and he's sitting there. He's not moving. Poppy, you come pouring down into here. You will see there's a gang. They are just starting to do that collapse that you recognize as Theo's touch. And you'll see a big heavyset guy, clearly unaffected by this, standing up from the couch. And then there's a woman off to the side who is setting her magazine down. What do you do?
I would like to just I come rolling down a
Yeah.
big ball, and I'm gonna run right into the heavy set guy.
Okay.
But I'm heavy, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
So skirmish.
Definitely.
All right, I'm looking at my powers
You want
here.
to do strongest there is?
Yeah, it looks like if I'm successful, I can turn that on and knock him out probably.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just go 3 dice. Can't go wrong, right?
Well, I mean, you've got some stress.
Yeah. What else could I do? You know, I'm just gonna go with the 3 dice.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. 2 1s and a 2.
So you go rolling at this guy, and he sees you coming, and he reaches out his hands, and the ground rips up and reshapes like a wall, and you smash into that. And you're going to take a level 2 harm from that. As you impact into it, you're able to kind of pull back a little bit on the kinetics there. But you can tell that this guy, he has control over solid matter, over earth and things like that.
Okay. So can I activate, what's it called? Juggernaut.
Yes, you may.
So that'll reduce it to a level 1 harm. No, I avoid it completely.
Avoid it completely, but it costs you 2 flare.
Okay. Yep, I'll do that.
Okay. So now you're at 4 out of 6. You see that, Carrie, as you come down. You see the boss is clearly in that daze that Harper does. You see that Theo has just knocked out most of the gang for just a little bit. And so you've got two empowered mutants here.
So the big guy basically just put a big wall of earth or floor.
Yeah,
whatever
tore up the floor, the stone here, and threw it in the way.
Okay. I think is this basically all gang, or do we have like a whole like club of civilians here? Like you said,
Oh, there are no civilians here. No,
Okay.
No
Okay.
civilians.
Okay. All right.
There are no innocents here. There's some that are less bad than others.
Okay. I think what I want to do then is to the big guy that just put the wall in front of himself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do him one better. I'm gonna put a wall of fire around him.
Okay.
That's my fanning the flames. I have to push myself.
All right.
And so that'll be 2 stress and 2 flare.
And so I think that we don't have to roll. I mean, you've created that flame. He's going to have to maneuver to get around or do stuff to be able to put that out. And so he's not going to be a threat on this round. The threat on this round is this woman who sees you do that pyrokinetic thing. Your hands light up when you do that, right? You're muted.
Yeah, the fire that she's using basically like surrounds her hands and just sort of fans out from it. The only for that sort of stuff, because it's like that's a big production.
There is a blur, and where that woman stands, she's no longer there. She is next to you, and she does this, jabs forward and jabs her fingers into your eye socket. and essentially she at like hyper speed goes to essentially pluck your eyeball out. So that is a level 3 harm she's going to inflict.
I would like to not
Not do that.
Yeah, that would be good.
Let's have you roll with prowess.
Is it possible for me to take that for him to somehow get in her way?
Yeah, you could resist instead of him.
And then I guess the next question is, would my Juggernaut still be active? It has a note that if there's multiple attacks, you take a stress for every attack after the first.
Oh, interesting. It would cost you a stress, and then you would have to roll the stress for the resist.
Okay. I'll go for it because
Okay.
your what's your prowess?
That's 2.
Yeah, mine's 4, so I'll go
Okay.
for it. So I'll
Yeah.
spend a stress to, and even if I do get hit, I'll only I'll take stress. I block it no matter what, but then I'm going to take stress probably.
Yeah. Let's see. 4 dice. I mean, chances are you're going to roll a 6 in there.
Yeah. Here we go. I got a 5.
So you take 1 more stress, so you're at 8 out of
All
9.
right. No problem.
Chef kiss. Let's come back to Theo. You see that these standard dudes are going to be. You've got to still some time before they're going to be able to act again. It looks to you like DeKoven's taken care of for the moment. If Harper continues that, you see the big guy is surrounded by fire, and then you saw that blur. That woman is right up by Carrie.
I mean, my powers don't do anything for this. How far are we from a door? As far as retreating and getting the hell out?
You could get to the doorway if you wanted to.
I don't want to by myself.
You could grab Harper and drag Harper back to the doorway.
Yeah, I guess. I
Okay.
can't think of anything better to even try.
Then let's have you roll finesse to grab Harper, get Harper back easily.
Okay.
The
Alright,
thing is,
so-
what if Harper doesn't want to leave?
That's a good question. Let's
I
have you
think-
negotiate that.
Yeah. So I think, Theo, you can make your way to drag me out, and I'm still kind of staring into DeKoven's eyes. And what do you say to what do you try to grab me or something?
We're going to die. We need to leave. It's that simple. You're the closest person I can grab to get us out.
Oh, we're just gonna leave.
Do you have anything
He's
left?
right there. He's right there.
My powers can't touch him.
Well, then pick up a gun right there, and they point at one of the. I don't know. These guys probably dropped a gun or two when they're knocked out.
Yeah, there's probably a gun within sight. If you want to shoot this helpless guy in the face, you can do that.
Helpless.
He is. He's frozen in place. What are your lines, Theo?
What are my lines?
Yeah, what line are you going to cross or not cross here? What are you going to do? What's more important to you?
Okay, so DeKoven is behind a wall of flame.
Nope. The big guy is behind the wall of flame. DeKoven's in a chair, dazed out by Harper's thing. He's a few feet in front of you.
And The woman though is still a problem, right?
Oh yeah, she's over there. She's going to try to super speed rip Carrie apart.
I mean, what is killing one of these dudes gonna achieve? We kill him one, we still got the others to deal with. This is gonna wear off real quick.
Well, we have one less person to deal with. Instead of leaving and having still the same number of people to deal with. If you're not going to do it, I will.
No, I'll do it. I'll grab it. I'll grab the gun and I have no idea what I'm doing with the gun, but yeah.
So if Poppy, if maybe I can't, but Poppy will try to stop it if I can.
That is an interesting question here.
I was gonna just engulf. I was gonna engulf the woman and just kind of choke her out and keep her frozen. But when I see them doing this, maybe I just let her go and try to stop them instead.
What do you think, Theo? How do you want to negotiate on that, or how do you feel about that?
Theo's freaked the fuck out at the moment and not thinking clearly. Panic, fight or flight mode is all in, and he wants to protect his people. The only way he sees to do that is to get out or to reduce the numbers here.
So if Poppy rushes over and stops the bullet, what would you do?
Then I'm grabbing, I'm going to then grab Harper and don't care if Harper's protesting and flee.
Okay. So I think that I'm going to have you roll finesse.
Okay.
And then if Harper wants to resist the consequence of being grabbed, Harper can do that, depending on your result here.
Okay. I got a 6.
Harper, he goes to grab, he's freaked out, stop the bullet, goes to grab and drag you out. Do you want to resist that?
I can do that or be an even bigger dick and use an ability. It's gonna make me tap out. But I have an ability called False Assassin. I can cast an illusion of myself so potent to the target's mind that the target can be killed by it.
Do you want to do that?
I don't think you have enough flair left though.
Oh yeah. I think it doesn't carry over. Like I guess. You can
Let
only
me look at how the thing defines it for that.
Yeah. Let's check that. But I could do that. But I do want to check in. Would people be okay? Because if not, that's perfectly fine. We can have Harper be dragged away.
As a player, I'm fine. As a character, Poppy hates it, but.
Yeah, Theo's not about the violence either, but shit's gone completely sideways.
But wait a second. Would Poppy even know that happened? Because the illusion is in their mind, right?
No, probably not. I think, Leandro, you were asking if we as players care about you killing this guy?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, as a player, I don't mind. And yeah, Poppy would probably not even know what you're doing.
Then that seems reasonable to me. Do you want to burn yourself out here?
Yeah.
Let me take a look here and see what it says for.
Oh, I think I think I might not be able to do it. Just as like the abilities fill in ticks of the clock. I don't think it goes over. It only says when a flare clock is full, the user is tapped out. It doesn't say if you can go over limit.
Yeah. Well, you know what? This is the last session, so if you want to do it, and but I think that you'll have to take whatever is over for flare as stress.
Okay.
I think there actually is something in the rules about when you go past your flare. There is a mechanic for continuing your powers, but I forget how it works. But it's something like that.
Yeah. So you're going to go one over, so you're going to have to take a stress to do that.
Okay. I'm going to push myself, but I can't now. Well, I can if this is going to be the last thing that Harper does.
So tell me what that looks like when you use your mind power.
Okay.
To make Fear the Little Killer on him.
Okay. I think. Okay, here's kind of what happens. I think what we see is what the Coven is seeing, which is probably Harper and Theo's dead bodies, and he's probably like standing up from the desk to like look down over them, doing that whole mafioso gloating thing. And you hear there's a scuffle on the outside, but it's in his mind, it's the other two being taken care of, and he's looking at the dead bodies. And I think what it just looks like is the dead Harper opens their eyes and just kind of like slowly stands up, and the Coven suddenly feels like they can't move at all. And in their mind, all they see is like this clearly dead Harper moving slowly and enclosing their hands on his neck.
And you push that. You've never used this before like this. You'll do that. There's probably the groan as he gives up the ghost, as then Theo is dragging you out of here. Carrie, it looks like Harper stopped the bullet. It looks like Theo, Poppy are moving out. What are you doing? Still got this woman here, got that other guy behind the firewall, but it looks like these others are moving to leave.
Well, Poppy's not moving to leave, am I? Or
Right.
was
No,
I?
but the other two are moving to
The
leave,
other two, yeah.
and you're kind of blocking.
Yeah.
Carrie?
I think I've still got the firewall up.
Yeah. You could keep that up and get out of here, no problem.
Yeah, I think that's what she's going to try and basically push that a little bit to basically get some fire in between her and Speedster.
Okay.
As well. And she's going to, motion for Poppy to get the hell out of here as well.
They fall back. Carrie raises out the flame, starts falling back. Poppy, do you go when they go?
Poppy sees what's his name, DeKoven, fall over dead, just suddenly dies. And I think Poppy's going to kind of lose it and is going to strike out at all of the remaining two, and probably at the the structure, and just sort of bring it all down. So I would like to activate my level 3 power, Unstoppable.
Okay.
Same thing. I have to use my remaining flare and then take a stress, which puts me right at 9.
I was going to be building down anyway, but okay, if you want to knock it
down. So tell me what that looks like when you bring this structure down, Poppy. Others have gotten out.
Yeah.
There's a dozen non-powered mutants in here, and then a couple of mutants with nasty powers. So what happens?
So this is going to be pretty ambitious, but you tell me how much of this I can do. So Poppy all along is kind of held back and pretended to be more human than they really are. So they just let it go and lose all shape, and just pseudopods go flying in all directions all at the same time, but they're coordinated, and they grab everybody in the room, throw them out, and then spikes go flying into the walls and just start bringing down the structure on top of the place, but trying to get all the people out.
I think we can safely say that this probably stresses you out. I think we'll see that. I think we get everybody out of there. We see that building come down. A bunch of people die. But this gang, this problem is going to be taken care of.
And I don't think Poppy comes out.
So is that Poppy's epilogue? Let's tell me what Poppy's epilogue is then.
I think everybody leaves eventually, and then Poppy kind of squirms out of the wreckage, and finds a quiet spot, and this time Poppy just stays away from everybody, but continues to do good things for the community, but very, very on the down low completely.
Okay. Carrie, what about you after all this? You plan to kind of light it up and the place comes down.
It sounded like Poppy was throwing the people out so they wouldn't get buried in it. Is that basically what you were doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the two other powered people that were involved in this, like speech lady and all that, after they get thrown through a wall, I'm presuming they're a little, knocked out. Yeah. Okay. They are not going to wake up from that.
Okay. Keep, again, on the down low. You're going to finish these people off.
Yes.
Okay. What about Harper? Now that you invaded somebody's mind and killed them with it.
Yeah. God. Give me a sec. I'm trying to
Yeah,
figure out where I can
absolutely.
go
No,
from
it's a
here.
tough call here.
Yeah. I think last session Harper said that they're willing to take up any like sort of burden or pain to spare anyone else. So I think that's what they kind of do. They're gonna take the fall for inciting this whole thing. They're gonna take credit for killing the Coven. I think their plan is to turn themselves to some sort of, I mean, they've already got like the wrong kind of name to get like attention. So I think in the long term, what to kind of see is, I don't know, they kind of like fashion themselves as some sort of like boogeyman, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what just kind of happens.
Yeah, certainly. There's rumors of a dark, inky figure who moves around and hides away from people. So why not another boogeyman who can mess with people's minds?
Yeah, but the difference is the story about the inky figure is that they're willing to help those who need it, and the shadowy mind manipulator is willing to hurt those who deserve it.
And what about our silence playbook? What about Theo after all this? What's your epilogue?
Theo is going to take a long time to himself while writing and writing and writing and writing. There's going to be a whole series of things coming out of this. The first one is going to be the best obit possible for Faye. But then there's going to be, I don't know if it's a novel or if it's something large that's going to be produced that is very moralistic about mutants harming other mutants and self-interest versus the good of the community. Because ultimately, Theo hasn't changed in that. He's just more shaken by violence and how things can just go the wrong way.
That seems fair. Seems more than fair. Those are our epilogues. So that is our story. Let's go ahead and do wishes, and then we'll go around and do stars if you all don't mind. Let's start with the order I'd been running with earlier, if I can remember it. Let's start with you, Carrie, on the wishes side.
Like I enjoyed all of the little op stuff. I'm really keen on seeing more of how the community would interact and how it would rebuild after this sort of like miniature gang war, because we basically did 2 gang wars here.
Yep.
And how things are going to be able to build back up, if that's going to be something that's going to be continuous, like, somebody gets a lot of attention and builds up a lot of heat on the community, and then somebody else has to deal with that, and And like I would, like to see how that eventually just has an impact on the community, like whether or not people start pushing that and becoming more of like more backbiting and like undermining each other because they don't want to be the ones on the chopping block the next time that comes up.
Okay, that seems fair. Um, uh, 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 for Theo, wishes?
My big wish is just wishing I knew the system better. Really,
Okay.
I mean, it's on me to learn the system better so that I have more of an idea of what's even possible with what we've got to work with here.
Yeah, and here's the thing: is the rules are a little scattershot in this particular iteration to kind of pick up what the things you really need to know are.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to figure this game out, so
I hear
I'm
that
with you.
consistently.
Yeah. I mean, I like it once you get it down, but you're absolutely right that it can be a real challenge. What about Poppy? Jason, what are your wishes?
Well, I think this is both a wish and a star. I really liked how you came back to this session having thought about how you wanted to go about doing it, and kind of deconstructing the game a little bit. It looked like where you like the phases, the walls between them were much more blurry. And I would say the only wish is then to kind of figure out how downtime fits in.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
in the normal game it's easy to like kind of strategize and say, okay, we're in the mission stage, so I've got this much stress, I've got this much harm, but I know once I get to the end of this, then I can have downtime and recover. But when you kind of deconstruct it, you're like, in like that moment where you let me go ahead and use my vice, that was nice. But maybe if you plan to continue with this kind of destructuring, to kind of make that clear to the players, okay, you guys can kind of narratively fit in your downtime as we play,
Yeah, it is a real challenge because that is such an important economy to how the game plays. And having pay a cash, and if you have time you can do the vice thing is, as you say, is useful in this context, but over time might not work.
Yeah.
But
overall, it's a great idea, and I'd like to see it more because I think it is somewhat, I don't know, the game seems a little bit rigid sometimes. This is my first time playing it, but I've watched quite a bit of it online, and I always get that sense of the game. It seems a little bit blocky and rigid sometimes because of that structure of the way the phases.
Yeah, when we played Neo Shinobi Vendetta, which is the cyberpunk ninja Forged in the Dark game, we put an explicit role play phase in there. It didn't solve some of the problems that we saw in this game, but it gave a space that made it feel less like, okay, now we're in X, now we're in Y, now we're in Z. But yeah, it is kind of a problem. Leandro, any wishes you would want to mention?
I just want to know in the context of like what does it mean by wishes here, because
Things you'd like to have seen more of, things you'd like to do more with.
Trying to think, because if I'm going to be honest, there's probably an element I wish I'd seen less of.
Okay.
And I think it was kind of like the focus on mutant crime. Honestly,
this is a real challenge. You actually hit on what I think is the biggest problem right now in the setup of the game. I think you're 110% right. The challenge in building these scenarios is you don't necessarily want it to be mutant on mutant. You need something from the outside, but the structure of the play, the structure of the setup of the game is all the mutants together in that community. So is it just that you have people coming in? I tried to do something today where it had more of a push from the outside, but then in the end, the way the game is set up and the way that the premise is set up, it does push to that, and I don't like that. I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that because I've run this game and
Okay.
I don't want to. I don't know.
No. Well, I struggled with this. So any advice you have, I'd appreciate.
I think what I would say is like, I think the focus, like, I think what we did when I ran is that we focus more on building up the community and what we can do to like improve kind of people's lives. And I think the main thing is just like, I think the main thing what we tried to do is like make sure the bad guys that we're fighting, they weren't just other mutants. I think it was just like that. It was just like trying to get through, privations of having this oppressive police force. And that was another thing that made me uncomfortable, was having to play an oppressive police force, which was fun. Well, no, it wasn't. It really wasn't.
No,
But, like,
it's fair. So in your thing, did you have the police force operating in the mutant safe zone? Because it's one of the things that the premises it's set up kind of implies that they don't go in there, and so we had to kind of alter from that.
well, what happened was that things escalated because, of course, they did, to the
Mm-hmm.
point where, yeah, I mean, it could go either way, definitely. But
No,
I think
I'm super glad to hear that it worked because I did struggle with it, and I'm glad that there are ways to make that work, and that you were happy with them.
I will take your point that, like, yeah, it's tricky to like get to that point because this game is dealing with like some quite loaded topics for sure.
Absolutely, and I am super white. So there is a certain amount where I'm also hesitant that I don't think I bring enough of the lived experience to it too. But it's a good. I mean, there's some really good stuff in here.
Yeah.
But to your point, I want to say, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think. So that brings us to. Did we get everybody's wishes? Okay. That brings us to stars. For Carrie, Mr. Newton.
I really enjoyed the interactions that we got to have between all the characters. I really enjoyed the lean hard that Theo had into manifestos, like that like as like a go-to thing. I just thought that I just found that to be, weirdly endearing. Like there was always like a manifesto just waiting to happen every time we got any good information. And Jason, Poppy was kind of a breath of fresh air. To like everybody else is kind of leaning into a lot of bad stuff, and Poppy has gone through that stuff, but they have that sort of childlike quality that sort of lets them still operate optimistically for the most part up until that very end. And I will say like that was played out to where it was kind of painful to see Poppy sort of have that fall there at the end where they sort of withdrew. And I think that bit of Poppy that you had built up until that point made that much more poignant, and I really appreciated that. Leandro, I loved how you played into Harper's mixed background and how you're bringing in like the rich kid aspect of it, being able to play with the name, being able to play with the politics that were involved there, and sort of bending that in, and then coming at the end and kind of unleashing that sort of psychic thing, taking out the big bad, like, the first time you'd ever unleash that power. I think that had a lot of narrative oomph to it, the way you did it and the way you played it out. And I thought that worked really well there. So, and Lowell, I mean, I had a good time. It's first time I've gotten to play a Forged in the Dark game, and I'm looking forward to hopefully getting into another one come December, Leandro.
Awesome, and I appreciate that. And Theo, Christopher, stars you want to point to?
I've got to say, this is the first game I've played where I felt something more than just having fun playing a game. There were several times in this particular session where, I mean, I felt it in my stomach. The confrontation with the police at the beginning of the session made it really clear that we were doing something different this session, and then geez, seeing Faye's body, that it really did throw me. I mean, I should have expected it, but it's still, I felt that. So that was kind of a first for me. I really enjoyed this session. This session for me was the first one where I really felt like I was in the game, you know, playing the game. Before the other sessions, it was figuring out the mechanics, how the stuff works together, and it was kind of blocky. You do this and then you do that, and this was a lot more engaging for me. And I mean, it took a dark turn in the end, but I liked how we wrapped things up, even though it wasn't a happy ending by any means.
No, I think that's super fair. Jason, Poppy, stars?
Yeah, I would just want to piggyback on what Christopher was saying, that this session had a lot more, I think, true emotion in it. And I think Christopher in particular, I really thought your character was super honest. Your anger, the hate that you were exuding was very visceral. I could feel it. I'm disappointed in you guys. Despite all my efforts, you still turned out to be murderers. Breaks poor little Poppy's heart. But that's okay. What was I had? One other thing. Oh, and just, related to that murder thing, just the fact that moment, I think Christopher touched on that too, that moment when, or somebody did, when Harper killed the bad guy, that really seemed like a good exclamation point on kind of some of the themes that our party was doing. And I think we all, a lot of games, I think it's easy to just be like, oh, it's my turn, I'll do my thing. It's my turn, I'll do my thing. And I think maybe this session in particular, there's a lot more interlacing and reacting to each other.
That's a good point.
Which is really a nice way to play. I think that's it.
Yeah, definitely a lot more cross-play rather than parallel play there towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
Leandro, I'm going to give you last word.
Oh dear. Yeah, I think what this big star I want to give is just to everyone's just gigantic generosity, I guess. Like, we wouldn't have been able to do all that crossplay if people weren't just so willing to okay, this is an interesting thing to do, or this is these are some buttons that we could push. I especially just I think let's see what else. I've lost my train of thought, but yeah, no, everyone was just very giving and just willing to push things, especially at the start when seemingly innocuous scene at the Poppy Dome kind of nearly broke bad in a big way, and I think everyone kind of leaned into that kind of set the tone for today, and I think everyone was just willing to get into it. So it's a final session. We might as well go out guns blazing. I'm sad that Poppy had to be disappointed at the end, but I'm glad someone stuck to their guns. It happens. I think the other big star I want to give is just is to Lowell as well for just keeping the things going, even though the dice were not going our way.
Had a lot of threes.
It was a lot of threes, and you're just so generous as well. Okay, we'll do another wrap around. You can do this group action. Maybe things will be better if you can roll 8 dice. You're just so nice to us, and I've mentioned. And
still spent all your stress.
Yeah. Well, it feels appropriate, and as Chris mentioned, I'm running a lot of Forge in the Dark, but I don't play. I've run more than I've played, so it was very nice to see someone who's quite experienced getting to play and seeing how they GM. Because I'm running Band of Blades in December. That's Forge in the Dark hard mode. So
that is hard mode.
Yeah, but no, yeah, again, and also just everyone being generous because I came in at the last minute in the last session, and everyone just let me slot in, which was very nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you to everyone. Leandro, an extra thanks for being willing to give me that feedback in the wishes page. I really appreciate you being willing to say that, so that I could really take a look at that, because it is something I struggle with. So I'm glad to hear that, so that I know that I need to go back and look and tune that. But I had a great time, especially this session. Like I enjoyed the other sessions, but this session I felt like I had a better handle on it, and you guys did, and that everybody's stories came together. So I had a very good time running today. Like I really enjoyed running tonight. So very happy. So I am going to stop the live stream here.